In the heart of the medieval era, the rhythm of sleep was vastly different from the continuous stretch of rest we know today. Long before the glow of electric lights filled our homes, people's lives moved in harmony with the rising and setting of the sun. Nightfall brought a natural signal for rest, and individuals would typically retire just a couple of hours after dusk. This marked the beginning of what was commonly known as the first sleep. It wasn't a full night's slumber, but rather the first segment, usually lasting around 4 hours. After this initial phase of rest, people would often awaken, not from restlessness, but because it was a normal, expected part of life. This period of quiet wakefulness typically lasted anywhere from 1 to 3 hours. It was a time when the household gently came alive again in the stillness of the night. Some used these hours for prayer, drawing upon the silence to seek spiritual insight or connection. Others reflected on dreams they had just experienced, completed light household tasks, or quietly conversed with loved ones. In some homes, this moment between sleeps was a chance to step outside, visit neighbors, or even gather for small social occasions. People regarded this interval as a deeply peaceful and meaningful time. It was seen as a bridge between two worlds, the sleep just completed and the second rest still ahead. Many believed that during these tranquil hours, the soul was more open, more receptive to divine inspiration or creative thought, making it a cherished part of nightly life. Once this wakeful interlude passed, individuals would return to bed for what was known as the second sleep. This final stretch of rest would continue until the first light of dawn, completing the natural sleep cycle in harmony with the rhythms of nature. Historical documents, from detailed city records to private diaries, make it clear that this pattern of segmented sleep was not just a quirk of rural life, but a widespread custom practiced across much of Europe. In bustling cities like Rouen, the late-night hours were often alive with quiet activity. Neighbors exchanged stories, shared food, and even helped one another with tasks. Bakeries in particular would fire their ovens during this time, preparing warm bread to be sold at sunrise. Even the medical minds of the time endorsed this unique rhythm of rest. Avicenna, one of the most influential physicians of the Middle Ages, wrote in his medical encyclopedia, The Canon of Medicine, about the health benefits of biphasic sleep. He suggested that this sleep schedule supported proper digestion and contributed to mental balance. According to his observations, those who followed the segmented sleep pattern were less prone to insomnia, anxiety, and melancholy, but the impact of this nighttime wakefulness extended beyond health. Socially, it was a precious time for human connection. Some taverns and public spaces remained open, allowing people to converse, eat, or even engage in business. In certain towns, city leaders took advantage of the calm nighttime hours to hold council meetings, finding the silence ideal for focus and decision-making. There were also economic benefits to this way of living. Since candles and oil lamps were expensive, making use of the natural wakeful period during the night allowed people to complete necessary tasks without wasting precious light sources. In fact, monastic communities kept detailed records indicating that a significant portion of their domestic and clerical duties were handled during these night hours. The pattern of sleep and wakefulness was also influenced by the changing seasons. In the longer nights of winter, the two sleep segments and the wakeful break between them were extended, allowing more time for contemplation or productivity. In contrast, during summer, the entire routine was shortened due to the shorter nights. Monasteries in the colder, northern regions adapted their schedules accordingly, often dedicating the extended winter hours to writing manuscripts, studying scriptures, or copying texts. These nocturnal moments weren't just practical. They were often times of profound inspiration. Theologians, philosophers, and scholars deeply cherished the solitude of these hours. Thomas Aquinas, among others, recorded receiving his most meaningful insights during this midnight quiet. Many manuscripts from the time bear notes and scribbles written during the middle of the night, a testament to the mental clarity and focus this interval offered. However, by the 17th century, things began to change. The spread of artificial lighting, along with evolving social structures and urbanization, slowly began to disrupt this centuries-old pattern. By the 18th century, in most cities, the idea of sleeping straight through the night without interruption became the new standard. Still, in rural areas, especially where tradition held stronger sway, many continued the old ways for several generations more. And though the practice has mostly disappeared, it left lasting echoes. Linguistic traces in Old French include phrases and idioms linked to activities done between the first and second sleeps. Some medieval buildings feature specific rooms, often called night halls, that were likely used during this nocturnal interlude. Remarkably, in some isolated European villages, this sleep pattern continued well into the early 20th century. Looking back at this rhythm of rest, we can better understand how our sleep has evolved. It's a reminder that our modern approach to sleep is just one version of what's possible, and that for much of history, people lived in step with the world around them, shaping their nights to fit the rhythm of the earth and the needs of their communities.